good perspective.
We're up here with two members of F3B Team USA. This is David Klein and Kyle Paulson. They both fly SD-10s, and they're the glider experts. We have a lot of glider competitors that fly SD-10s, and I thought it would be great for them to talk about the team, and they've got some promotional items and stuff they're doing, and lots of equipment and gizmos and whatnot. So Dave, tell us what's going on with Team F3B.
Well, thank you guys for coming and listening to us talk a little bit. This is one of our competition models. We fly F3B, which is a multitask glider competition. Basically, we have to take the same glider and fly 3 separate tasks every round. The first task is what people most know gliders for. It's a precision thermal duration flight, which is where we launch a plane, we fly it around for 10 minutes, and 10 minutes to the second we land on a target as close as we can to the target within inches, basically, is a good landing. And so this plane's actually fairly difficult to do so because it's more of a racing plane. It's a 10-foot wingspan. It's an unlimited class, so we can come out and fly anything we like as long as it meets FIA limits. But most of the competitive gliders are really converging on an ideal size, and it's about 3 meters, about a 10-foot wingspan like you see here. This is an all-carbon epoxy glider. It actually has 2 layers of spread-toe carbon fiber that make up the wing skins. The fuselage is all carbon fiber up to the wing saddle. The tails are what are a new type of construction called disser, and if you can see through it, it's got a lattice weave of carbon fiber toes with glass. And the idea here is that you get a really lightweight tail that's very stiff torsionally. This glider weighs about 75 ounces, about 2 kilograms, and it flies from about 10 miles an hour to about 160, 170. It features 6 servos in the 4 servos in the wing and 2 in the tail. They're all Airtronics 761s. The 94761s are kind of the gold standard for flying gliders with. It's also got what a lot of people aren't aware of. They're called rotational drive system, RDS, which was initially developed in the US by Harley Michaels in the Midwest, and has really taken on throughout Europe. There are no control horns protruding out here. Nothing on the top, nothing on the bottom. It's a very clean wing, so it flies as it was designed to. There's basically a rotational drive shaft coming off the servo that goes to a bent pin wiper inside of a lot here. So it's very tight, very stiff, and there's nothing hanging out in the airflow. It's also a lot easier on the servos. If you want to check that out in person, come talk to us later. We'll throw it. So the other 2 tasks are the most interesting. We fly what's called distance and speed. Distance is we'll have up to 6 competitors, between 3 and 6 guys, flying against each other. And we fly on a 150-meter course, so about a football field and a half. And we have 4 minutes to do as many laps as we can in 150 meters. So an average good score is about 24 laps. The world record is 38. 38 laps is about doing 110 miles an hour for 4 minutes straight, going back and forth. I mean, it's really hauling butt. It's a really high rate. And the cool thing is you're racing 4 other guys at the same time. And then we have speed, which is it's basically a time trial event. You have 4 minutes to pick a good slot and do the 150-meter course 4 legs. So you launch really high, you dive into the course, and you race across this track with 3 turns as fast as you can. Your model glider is doing about 120 to 130 miles an hour on the course for a good run. That varies widely between the launch conditions and the time of day and that stuff. But it's a real exciting event. It really pushes model design and piloting technique to the limit because you have to do it all with the same plane. You can't switch wings. You can't swap tails, no fuselages. You can only add or take out ballast. And it forces something really cool is that if you break your plane in the first heat, you have to repair it or take zeros in the other 2 because you can't swap your planes.
So how many times have you broken?
I have not yet had to not fly in the other events. So that's
very different
safe.
from when you compete with hand launch gliders? Where
Yeah. Mike, the first time Mike met me was about 1.5 years ago, and I was flying at the International, and I was pretty brutal on hand launching airplanes. one of my hand launches is sitting over there, and that might have been the exact one Mike saw that I threw the nose off of.
Yeah.
And one of the
absolutely.
coolest features that you don't see on any other radio out there, period, is the model select buttons on the front of the radio. Before my glider hit the ground, I was throwing it into the air and it broke on launch. Before it hit the ground, I had already switched models in stride running my next plane. And there's no other feature out there. Another top pilot, one of the current US team members, broke a model in the same fly-offs. He was flying a different brand, and it literally took him about an extra 30 seconds to wait to confirm models, to hold buttons down, to swap airplanes, and that cost him 30 seconds of flight time, and I beat him in that contest just because of that one feature right there.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I tell that story a lot. The direct model selector buttons I thought was a nice convenience until I saw them in competition. When you've got to switch models in the heat of the battle, those things are fantastic. And so David's airplane sitting off to the sidelines, the backup, ready to go. Switch the button, he's already up in the air again.
Yeah,
That's
so
pretty cool.
in
Hopefully
F3B,
you won't have to do that with this though.
In F3B, it's not as big a deal because if I break an airplane, I need to sit down for a long while. And everything else that I fly, it's really beneficial. When you see guys fly F3J, which is just thermal duration, the even larger gliders, people think this is big. This is about 3 feet shorter span than the models they fly in that. And that one, people used to have 2 radios with their other plane, both of them turned on, ready to go, so that if they had a problem, they could switch that fast. Well, if you're flying Airtronics, you don't need to. Having another radio takes longer because you have to put one down and pick the other one up. That's how fast you can switch with an SD10G. Or a 5G or a 6G, they also do that too, correct?
Yeah, that's right, they do. Even the 5-channel has direct model select. So, when's the F3B competition and where is it?
So Kyle and I are really excited. We started flying F3B about 3 years ago, and we made a commitment to each other to be teammates and to learn this and work with it. And this past year, we made the team together as pilots 1 and 2 for the F3B team. 3 pilots get to go to represent the United States at the World Championships every other year. And this time, the World Championships are going to be at the end of September in China. And we'll have 3 pilots flying SD10Gs there for the U.S. So there'll be no other brands representing the U.S. It'll be all SD10G pilots. Kyle Paulson here, he's my buddy. He was the first pilot at the team selects. He qualified in first place. He's the most modest pilot you'll ever meet, really modest gentleman, but he's the hardest working, most talented glider pilot in the country right now. I'm not so modest, but I'll talk him up plenty. But he's also very approachable. And one of the things that I try to stress to people as I meet him at contests is that the reason pilots are sponsored is to set up and help you guys out. So no matter what brand you're flying, I'm assuming you're all Airtronics because you're here, go and seek out the sponsored pilots in your area to give you a hand with what you're doing. 2 weeks ago, before our major contest last weekend, Kyle spent a whole weekend in the desert with just new guys. He only brought his plane to show as an example of how to do stuff. He wasn't training. He spent the whole weekend teaching guys how to fly F3B. So please, all of the Airtronics pilots will go out of their way to help you out in setting up planes. I'm not an expert in everything. I try to do what I can with gliders. I'm going to be leaving right when we're done here. But please, if you have any interest in gliders at all, follow me out to my car. Let me give you a business card. I'd be really happy to give you my models, but also I'd actually prefer to go through your model and help you set it up so you know all the menus and how to get everything going. And Kyle will go out of his way to do the same.
That's a big deal, and that's one of the nice things about the 10G is that we can share model setups, and we can copy one to another radio and so on. I will brag a little bit. I think our team is really friendly, and it's guys like David and Kyle that make that happen. So to get to China, that's free, right? You're just going to go over there on somebody else's? How does that work?
So the one thing you count on is AMA support. The problem is AMA goes out of their way. They give us a lot of money. Out of our total budget, they'll probably give us almost $3,000 this year. But to send 6 pilots for 2 weeks to China and all the equipment that we have to take also, our budget is just north of $20,000. So the pilots are on the hook to come up with that money. So that's about $18,000 or $6,000 a piece we have to come up with to go compete in China. So rather than it all coming out of our pocket, we put in a lot of effort for fundraising. One of the things we do is we sell apparel. We just got these team jerseys in last week. We do sell these. We charge $100 for them, but they cost us almost $60 to manufacture. We're also selling very nice embroidered polos that I wear on my casual Fridays at work. Those we're charging $50 for. But the gold gem, the thing that really makes money for us to go to China, is our raffle. Airtronics and hobby people are some of the most generous people out. They're large sponsors to our raffle. But we've also gone to the rest of the community and stacked up almost $6,000 in raffle prizes for our raffle. We've also, one of the tricks to a raffle is making it easy for people to buy. So our team has put in a lot of effort this year to set up a merchant account to take Visa, MasterCard, and American Express online. And that'll be for all FAI soaring teams from now on to the future. So if you go to Team USA F3B.com, I'll give you one of my business cards to help get you there when we leave. There's a place there to buy electronic raffle tickets online. We're looking to raise, we have about another $8,000 to $9,000 to raise before September to go to China and to get there to pay for all of our equipment. Some of the equipment that we have to bring is like this launch, this winching device here. This is what we use to launch. We have to bring 6 of them to China. So you have 6 cases there that'll weigh 50 pounds apiece just to launch our planes to get there. We have to take about 10 airplanes.
Here, set it up here.
Few total raffle tickets in there. So right now about 6 guys are going to win $6,000 in product. So if you can go to teamusaf3b.com, if you go on RC groups in the multitask forum or the first sticky thread, you can get a hold of us there. Like I said, I'll be handing out business cards. I'll leave some with Kyle with my email address on them. So if you guys need any help at all, please contact us.
All right. Thank you for coming, guys. Good luck.
Thank you for having us.